Okay. So you know that sinking feeling when like your income takes a dip?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you're on a roller coaster that just plunged and you don't know when the ride's going to end.
I get that.
Yeah. You've sent in some info that seems like it might have some answers. So
Okay.
we're going to dive into that today and see if we can't map out a solid plan.
Sounds good.
All right. So looking at what you sent, what struck me
Okay.
was that it lays out this very specific 8-step plan
Yeah.
to tackle a shrinking income.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this source is it's not just like generic advice, you know?
Yeah.
It's really all about taking action rather than hoping things will get better on their own.
Love it. Actionable advice is definitely what we're all about.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm all for action, but isn't the first step usually figuring out like what went wrong
Yeah.
in the first place?
You're absolutely right. The source calls this diagnosing the problem.
Okay.
It's like a doctor, wouldn't just give you a random pill without figuring out
Yeah.
what's making you sick, right?
Yeah. Right. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
But what if you're in a field where like everyone's income is taking a hit? How do you know if it's like something you did or just a bigger trend?
That's where it gets a bit tricky.
Yeah.
The source really highlights the importance of understanding whether your income decrease is like a temporary thing,
Okay.
like, reduced hours because of a seasonal slowdown, or if it's a permanent thing, like a complete job loss.
Right.
And it also encourages you to kind of look at what's happening in your industry as a whole.
So you're saying like if everyone in your field is struggling, it might not be you. It might be a larger thing.
Exactly. It could be a sign of a changing market or even a broader economic downturn.
We need to check the economic weather forecast too.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels like my income is shrinking even though I'm making the same amount. Is that even possible?
It absolutely is. Sometimes what feels like a decrease in income is actually just an increase in your expenses. Those sneaky bills creeping up on you can really make it feel like you're making less money, even if your income's actually stable.
Sneaky is, right?
Yeah.
So once we've kind of diagnosed the why behind the income dip, what's next?
So step 2 is all about taking a cold, hard look at your finances.
Ooh, okay.
The source recommends tracking every single dollar you spend for a month.
Oh, wow. Every dollar.
I know it sounds tedious, but trust me,
Right.
it is eye-opening. They even suggest using an app that analyzes your spending
Okay.
and kind of categorizes it for you. It's like having a financial detective on your team.
I like that.
Yeah.
No more mystery money disappearing into the void.
Exactly. You'll
Yeah.
see exactly where your money's going, which
Yeah.
is the first step to taking control.
Right.
And then comes the dreaded B word.
Oh, no. Budgeting.
Budgeting.
Ugh. Everyone says it's important,
Right.
but who actually enjoys it?
Well, think of your budget as a superhero team.
Okay.
Your fixed costs, like rent or mortgage payments, they're like the core members. You can't function without them.
Okay.
But those variable costs, like groceries, entertainment, they're kind of like the interns. You can swap them out as needed.
Okay. I like that visual.
Yeah. The source actually provides a bunch of different specific budgeting methods, even some that use cool tech to help you stay on track.
Ooh, tech is good.
Yeah.
All right. So where do we find these interns to swap out?
That's where those potential savings come in.
Okay.
And the source has a surprising tip negotiating your bills.
Really?
Did you know that a Consumer Reports study found that most people who try to negotiate their cable bill actually get a lower price?
Huh. But isn't negotiating kind of awkward?
It can feel that way.
Yeah.
But there are resources out there to help.
Okay.
There are even services that will negotiate your bills for you for a small fee.
Oh, wow.
Or you can find scripts online that tell you exactly what to say.
All right. I'm willing to give that a shot.
Yeah.
So we've diagnosed the problem, mapped out our finances, and maybe even found some hidden savings.
Yeah.
What's next on this action plan?
Now it's time to shift gears and think about how to increase your income, at least temporarily. It's like adding rocket boosters to your spaceship to help you get through this asteroid field.
Adding rocket boosters sounds way more fun than tightening the belt.
Right.
What kind of boosters are we talking about?
The source dives into what they call the gig economy,
Okay.
which basically means finding short-term, flexible ways to make money.
Okay.
Think about it. People are making real money teaching yoga online, walking dogs, even writing wedding vows.
Oh, wow.
The gig economy is exploding.
Hmm.
There are tons of platforms where you can offer your skills and set your own rates.
So the gig economy is kind of like the Wild West of work.
It can feel that way,
Yeah.
but that's also what makes it exciting.
Yeah, for sure. So many possibilities.
Yeah. We could spend a whole deep dive just exploring the gig economy.
Right.
But for now, I think it's worth checking out some of these platforms and seeing what opportunities might be out there for you.
Okay, I'm adding that to my to-do list. So we've tightened the belt, fired up the rocket boosters. What's next in this financial adventure?
Now we shift our focus to the long-term game plan.
Okay.
It's not just about surviving this dip. It's about thriving in the long run. Think of it like building a solid foundation for your financial house.
Got it. Laying the groundwork for a brighter future. But where do we even begin with that? So how do we start building this, financial foundation?
Yeah, so the source breaks it down into two main categories:
Okay.
job-related solutions and business-related solutions.
Got it.
So let's say your income decrease is tied to your job. The first step might be, polishing up that resume and actively seeking a new job that offers better pay or more stability.
Ugh. I've always hated writing resumes. It feels like bragging.
Yeah.
But also, I'm leaving out all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Any tips on how to make mine, stand out from the crowd?
Well, I'm no resume expert,
Okay.
but the source emphasizes tailoring your resume to each specific job you apply for. And instead of just listing your duties, focus on the results you achieved.
Results.
Numbers speak louder than words, right?
Sure.
Quantify your accomplishments whenever possible.
Okay, numbers it is.
Mm.
But what if you actually like your current job?
Yeah.
Is jumping ship always the answer?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The source actually suggests exploring ways to increase your income within your current role. Have you considered asking for a raise?
Oh, I've thought about it, but it's terrifying.
Yeah.
What if they say no?
I get it. Asking for a raise can be nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But the source makes a great point. Most employers are actually more open to negotiation than you might think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they provide some really helpful tips on how to approach the conversation.
Like what?
Like focusing on your accomplishments and highlighting how you contribute to the company's bottom line.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll work up the courage to ask. But what if the income problem is coming from my own business?
That's where things get really interesting. If your business is the source of the income decrease, the source suggests kind of taking a magnifying glass to your entire business model. Are there areas where you can increase revenue? Could you offer new products or services or target a new niche market?
So it's all about getting creative and maybe even shaking things up a bit.
Exactly.
Are there any real-world examples of how this could work?
Absolutely. So let's say you're a baker who specializes in custom birthday cakes.
Okay.
Maybe you could expand to offer wedding cakes or even start teaching baking classes. Or perhaps you could branch out into a new market like catering corporate events.
Ooh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about all those cake possibilities.
Right.
But what if you've tried everything and still can't seem to make ends meet?
Well, it's important to remember that you're not alone in this. Sometimes even with the best planning and effort, we need a little extra support.
Yeah.
And that's where step 6 comes in, considering financial assistance.
This is a topic that can be tough to talk about. There's often a stigma around seeking financial help.
I agree. But the source emphasizes that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Right.
It's about being resourceful and doing what's necessary to take care of yourself and your family.
So what kind of help is out there? Where do you even begin to look for it?
Well, the source mentions a few key avenues.
Okay.
Starting with unemployment benefits if you've lost your job.
Right.
There are also various government programs designed to provide financial assistance to those in need.
Okay. Government programs can be confusing to navigate. Any tips on where to start?
A great starting point is your local or state government website.
Okay.
You can often find a list of programs and eligibility requirements there.
Got it.
And don't forget about community resources.
Oh, right.
Charities, food banks, religious organizations, and other local groups often offer support to those struggling financially.
It's like having a safety net woven by the community itself.
Absolutely. And speaking of safety nets, the next step in the plan reminds us that dealing with a decreased income is an ongoing journey.
Okay.
It's not a one-time fix. It's about constantly monitoring your progress and making adjustments along the way.
Oh, it's more like navigating a winding road than reaching a final destination.
Exactly. You need to be flexible and adaptable, just like a driver on a winding road.
I can see how that would be crucial. What are some ways to stay on top of things and make those necessary adjustments?
The source stresses the importance of consistently tracking your budget and income to see what's working and what needs tweaking.
Okay.
Are you sticking to your spending plan? Are your income-boosting strategies paying off? You need to constantly evaluate and be prepared to change course if needed.
So it's a bit like being a financial scientist, constantly experimenting and analyzing the results.
I love that analogy. It's all about being curious, being willing to try new things, and learning from your experiences.
This is really shifting my perspective. It's not about being perfect. It's about being adaptable and willing to learn along the way.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. The final step in the plan emphasizes the power of seeking help and support.
We've talked about financial resources, but what about emotional support? Dealing with a financial setback can be incredibly stressful.
You're absolutely right. The source highlights the importance of having a support system in place, whether it's friends, family, or even a therapist. Talking about your challenges and sharing your feelings can make a huge difference.
It's like having a cheering section reminding you that you're not alone in this. But sometimes it's hard to open up about money troubles, even to those closest to us.
Yeah.
Any advice on how to start that conversation?
The source suggests starting small.
Okay.
You don't have to spill your entire financial history all at once. Just sharing a bit about your situation and how it's making you feel can be a good first step.
Okay.
And remember, the people who care about you want to help.
Okay. I'm starting to feel a little more hopeful. It's reassuring to know there are people and resources out there to help us navigate these choppy waters. It's amazing how much we've unpacked in this deep dive. We started with that sinking feeling of a shrinking income. And now we've got this toolkit full of strategies, resources, and even like a renewed sense of hope.
It really is a testament to the power of information and a proactive mindset. When you feel equipped to face a challenge, it becomes less daunting and more like an opportunity for growth.
Totally. But before we wrap up, I'm curious, was there anything in the source material that really surprised you or that you found particularly insightful?
What really struck me was the emphasis on something we haven't talked about much yet.
Okay.
The power of networking.
Yeah, working.
It's something that's often overlooked, especially in today's digital world where everything seems to happen online.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost in the sea of job boards and online applications and kind of forget about the value of real-life connections.
Exactly. And networking isn't just about attending those awkward industry mixers or handing out business cards like candy.
Yeah.
It's about building genuine relationships with people in your field, sharing knowledge, and supporting each other's journeys.
Yeah. So it's more about collaboration than competition.
Precisely. You never know where those connections might lead. A casual conversation at a coffee shop could turn into a job opportunity, a valuable mentorship, or even a new business partnership.
That's like that old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Well, I'd say it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
But having a strong network can open doors and create opportunities you might never have found otherwise.
So for our listeners out there, don't underestimate the power of networking. Reach out to people in your field, attend industry events, join online communities, and just nurture those connections.
And remember, networking is a two-way street.
Right.
Be generous with your time and knowledge, offer support to others, and approach those relationships authentically. It's about building a community, not just collecting contacts.
I love that. It's about creating a web of support, both for yourself and for others. Speaking of support, another thing that stood out to me in the source was that reminder to tap into community resources.
Absolutely. We touched on this briefly, but it's worth emphasizing. There are so many incredible organizations out there, charities, food banks, religious organizations, local support groups that are dedicated to helping people navigate financial hardship.
It's incredible.
They often have a deep understanding of the local resources and can provide tailored guidance.
It's like having a safety net woven by the community itself.
Beautifully put. These organizations often go beyond just financial assistance. They can provide emotional support, practical guidance, and a sense of belonging that can be invaluable during tough times.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed or alone, please remember that you're not alone. Reach out to your local community and see what resources are available. There are people who care and want to help.
And never be afraid to ask for help. It's a sign of strength, not weakness.
Right.
To recognize when you need support and to reach out for it.
Well said.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from practical strategies to building emotional resilience to the importance of community and connection. As we wrap up, what's the final message you want to leave our listeners with?
I think it boils down to this. You are capable of navigating this challenge. You have the strength, the resourcefulness, and the support to overcome this obstacle and create a brighter financial future for yourself?
Yes.
It's not about being perfect. It's about taking action, learning, and adapting along the way.
I love that. It's a message of empowerment, resilience, and hope.
Exactly. And remember, even small steps can lead to big changes.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to start small. Celebrate your wins and keep moving forward. You've got this.
What an inspiring note to end on. I'm feeling energized and ready to tackle any financial challenge that comes my way. I hope our listeners are feeling the same.
Me too. And if you're looking for a place to start, remember that small step we talked about earlier. What's one thing you can do today to start moving towards that brighter financial future? Maybe it's checking out a gig economy platform, having that tough conversation about a raise, or simply writing down your financial goals. Whatever it is, take that step and keep the momentum going.
That's a great challenge for our listeners. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Tap into your network, explore those community resources, and keep learning and growing. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Until next time, stay curious, stay empowered, and keep diving deep.